fight, trying to see where this life take me, so I roll the dice. Look up to no one else, but yeah, I was shy. I got real power, Hebrew Israelite.
Where do you come from? It's a tough question, right? Because look, this Bible isn't just laws, spiritual, mythological fairy tales that you're reading about. This is actually a history of every nation written about in the world, specifically the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So before we were given these bywords, before we was called Black, African American, Latinos, Puerto Ricans, right? God called us a certain name, right? Let me get Deuteronomy 29:1. He said what? There's 18 nations according to the Bible. Turn that sign around, brother. Your call. Before the Bible, you had the children of God, right? And then you had the children of men, right? We're gonna bring that out for you too, all right? So Colin, let's bring this out. Hey, hear this last verse. You gotta know your nationality, brother.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 29 and verse 1. Yo. These are the words of the covenant which the Lord commanded Moses to make with the children of Israel.
The children of Black.
The children of Israel.
Hispanic.
The children of Israel.
So according to the Bible, the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, everyone you see on that sign over there, are the children of Israel. So you would be an Israelite, right? You would be princesses, right? Children of Israel. You would be kings, children of Israel, right? Israelites from the nation of Israel. Those are the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We are the descendants of those people in the Bible, right? Now there's other nations as well, they got their own ancestors, but our ancestors are the Israelites, all right? And then you said what was before the Israelites, right? Right, let me get Genesis chapter 6 and verse 1.
It's the book of Genesis.
Yeah, it talks about that as well, but.
It's the book of Genesis chapter 6 and verse 1. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God, the sons of God,
right? So you had the sons of God, right?
Saw the daughters of men, the daughters of men.
Right. So we were the sons of God before we were the Israelites, right? That was a name given to Jacob when you read Genesis, the 28th through the 32nd chapter, right? You said what?
The Bible substantiates before the Bible, so the Bible to substantiate that fact.
Well, we believe in every word in this book. Oh, yeah. You have any other questions besides that, brother?
No, just what you said, what nation, tribe you came from, I guess you said that, nationality.
Right.
Right, that comes from the nation, I was thinking there before.
Do you know how we descend? Do you know how we know that we descend from those people? Exactly, right? So the Bible is going to identify and give us certain signs and foretell us. Our forefathers wrote it for us so we can identify who we are in the last days, because we would depart from our nationality. Let me get Jeremiah 17 and 4, and let me get Deuteronomy 28 and 15 first. All right.
28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments.
Right, so Moses is speaking to the children of Israel as they're going through the wilderness right now. All right, this is the book of Deuteronomy. He's speaking to the children of Israel. He's telling them, hey, if you don't listen to God to keep his commandments, right?
And his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses.
All these what?
All these curses. All these curses.
Right, so we said curses, right? If you don't listen to God, all these curses are what?
Shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Right, that was the first curse, right? So is a curse a good thing or a bad thing, right? Very bad thing, right? Because you got blessings and you got curses, right? And that's that frankincense and myrrh, right? That's the Lord's favorite smell. You gotta get used to that, right? So the Lord said, hey, very bad things are gonna happen to you if you do not listen to God. Read that first curse again.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
right, it said, cursed shall thou be in the city. So the Israelites, whoever these people are, the descendants of them will be cursed in every city in the world, right? When you go to Chicago, when you go to Detroit, New York, right, Houston, who are the people that are in poverty? Who's homeless, right? Who's poor, right? Who do you see on drugs on every corner when you walk down a block on Michigan Ave, right? You see blacks and Latinos. Every person that you see on that sign, those are the people who are cursed in the cities, right? And then, what else did it say?
And cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Right, and cursed shall thou be in the field, right? What is this? What does that look like? What does it mean that we were cursed in the field? Slavery, right? Hard bondage, right? Captivity, right? Picking cotton, picking strawberries, right? Sugar cane, right? Having whips on your back, right? You having a so-called white man telling you to work 23 hours a day. You got 30 minutes to sleep, you still gotta wake up and do what you gotta do, right? So that's being cursed in the field. And that's just one curse, right? That was only one curse that these so-called Israelites are gonna go through if they don't listen to God, right? So who else went through those things? Did the so-called white man go through those things? Did the Chinese man go through that? Did they? Some of them? When was that? On a mass level, hundreds of millions of Chinese people, you tell me, hundreds of millions, you're standing on their dead bodies right now. No, right? You might have had a small remnant, right, that went through a few things. Nonetheless, hey brother, you an Israelite, you gotta repent and keep God's commandments, right? Hey, you got a flag? All right, you got a flag. Check out the information with the teachers on YouTube, all right? All right. So right, that was just one curse, right? There's a multitude of curses. We're gonna read a few more curses, and let's see who these curses really fit. Because you mentioned Chinese people, right? Let's see if Chinese people go through this as well, right? Let me go to verse 54. Let's bring out the class.
Verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother.
It said his eyes shall be evil toward his brother, right? Who has an evil eye towards each other, right? I'm wearing red, you're wearing blue, right? And I don't know you, we're walking down the block, and I'm already talking that stuff, right? I don't like the way you're looking at me, right? And before you know it, it's a shootout. Before you know it, we're fighting. Before we know it, I'm getting jumped, right? Who does that to each other? Does a Chinese man walk up and down the block sagging his pants, they see each other, and it's a shootout, right? Do they drive around looking for each other, looking for their ops, right? Who does that? Who has an evil eye towards their brother? Right, so-called black people, Hispanics, right? You have black on brown crime, right? They call us brown, call y'all black, right? You got brown on brown, and you got black on black, right? So we have an evil eye toward each other. And this is just one other curse. This is the second one, right? Read on.
So that the man that is tender among you, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the remnant of his life, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave.
Right, so it said he's going to have an evil eye even towards the wife of his bosom, right? Who has the highest domestic violence rate? Out of all these nations, right, that you see right here on this board right here. Who's known for beating their wives? Who's known for the house being sped up, right? Mom shows up, dad shows up out of nowhere, and mom's smacking around dad, right? She's smacking him because he's not paying his child support, right? Or vice versa, right? So our people are going through that. And it says, read that last part again.
And toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave, which he shall leave, which he shall leave, which he shall leave.
Right? So it said, even towards his children, this so-called, right, these Israelites, they're going to be known for leaving their children, right? Who's known for leaving their children? Having no father in the household. Right? That's a stereotypical thing. What's the joke with the elevator? Right? Only an elevator can raise our children, right? Where's our men at? And even the dads who are still in, you might still have your dad in your life, but he probably didn't grow up in a household with you, right? That was similar to me, right? A lot of other brothers up here, I don't know a lot of their personal situations, but I know a lot of us didn't grow up with our fathers, right? Or the father wasn't in the household to raise us, to teach us right from wrong. Y'all gotta go? Right. So do you understand how we Israelites? When you read the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, right, it identifies who we are through these curses, right? These people, they didn't listen to God, so they would suffer these things. You have to read Deuteronomy 28 and look at the flyer that we gave you so you can further learn, right? Hey, Zah, you got a flyer for them? Right? You following along, brother? Right? So we're going to be cursing the cities. We're going to be cursing the fields. We're going to be beating on our children. Look into that information, right, sister? Right? We're going to be beating our wives. We're going to be leaving our children. The father's not in the household, right? You're going to have an evil eye towards our brother. We're going to hate each other. We're going to envy each other for no reason, right? And what's really the fight over, right? We in the same position. We all at the bottom together, yet we just love to kill each other. But we would never do that to the so-called white man. Right. The so-called white man walks by, hey, we straighten up, right? He tells you when to wake up, when to go to work, when to pay your bills, and we do it without batting an eye. Right? But your brother asks you for $5 and you can't do that. Right. Your brother walked past you, he might have accidentally bumped into you, and you can't get away with a sorry, right? You can't get away with a simple apology. We don't do that to these other nations, right? Hey, we kiss up to them because that the Lord has set them above us, right? And due to that, hey, we think we're inferior to them, but really we're better than them, right? Let's get Deuteronomy 7 and 6.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people.
Now, would you agree that black people are special people? What makes you say that? Okay, that's a good point, right? So God said that, hey, these Israelites, these blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they're special people, right? You know?
Unto himself, above all people. Above all people.
Right, he said above all people, right? Above all those people on that sign over there, we're above them, right? Read on.
That are upon the face of the earth.
Right. That are upon the face of the earth. So you can't deny that scripture. That was written, and these scriptures cannot be broken. These are pure words that have been purified 7 times by the Most High God, right? A complete amount of times. So he said that we're above all these other nations, right? They are upon the face of the earth. So why are we at the bottom? Right? So that's a good question. Right. Right, we're going to read it again for you. This is why we're at the bottom. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 45. Go to verse 45. Where we got it first?
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed. Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he hath commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign, and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
Right. So God said, hey, the reason why we're at the bottom of society, because we did not keep the commandments. Right. We didn't keep these laws. We didn't keep the feast days. We didn't pray. We didn't fast. We didn't serve him with all our heart, with all our soul. Right? We wanted to do what we wanted to do. We made a covenant with the Most High God, and the children of Israel said, you know what? I don't want to keep the Sabbath day. I kind of want to cook. Kind of want to cook up my eggs. I kind of want to go see my girl and freak off, right? Because we got lust. We're in the flesh, right? So we was breaking the Sabbath day. We was eating pork, right? We was hating our brother. We wasn't loving each other as thyself. We was breaking all these laws, statutes, and commandments. And due to that, the Lord chastised us. He punished us. Let me get Amos chapter 3, verse 1.
Amos chapter 3 verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth.
Right, the Lord said, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore what?
Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities.
Right, so the Lord said, hey, you only have I known out of all the families of the earth. Therefore I'm going to punish you. Just like if you had a child, you got children? You got children? Right, you got a son, you got a daughter? You got one? No, yeah. So you know, right? You have a child, right? If your child gets in trouble at school, right? Let's say he or she got caught cutting up in the bathroom with another Jake, right? They was smoking in the bathroom in high school, whatever, and they call you up, right? They say, hey, you know, we found your son, we found your daughter. You know, they was freaking off in the bathroom, smoking cigarettes, right? Doing God knows what. They was selling drugs. We caught them, right? And they was with their friend. Who are you gonna punish? You gonna punish your kid first? Or you gonna tell your kid, it's okay, then I'm gonna go whoop your friend, right? I'm gonna punish your friend. Who are you gonna punish? The friend or your literal child? Right, your daughter, right? So you're gonna punish your children, right? The Lord called us the children of Israel. We're His children. He's only known us out of all the families of the earth. Therefore, He punished us for our iniquity. He said, hey, you didn't listen to me. I made a covenant with you. I told you exactly what to do. And it was for your own good too. But you decided to break that. You decided to do what you wanted to do, right? Let me get Hebrews 12 and 6. Right? Read on from that.
Read on. And it says, therefore, I'll punish you for all your iniquities. Can't two walk together except they be agreed? When a lion roar in the forest when you have no prey?
Listen on that, Salak.
It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 12 and verse 6. For whom the Lord loveth, He chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom He received. If ye endure chastening, God dwelleth with you as with sons.
Right. So read that from the top again.
For whom the Lord loveth, He chasteneth.
The Lord said, hey, for whom the Lord loveth, He chasteneth. Meaning He's going to punish you if He really loves you. If somebody really cares about you, they're going to tell you what's good for you, right? They're going to tell you when you're doing wrong, right? If your mom and dad didn't love you, they're not going to whip you when you're doing wrong, when they catch you going off, right? Whatever your rules are in the house, right? Those are the rules they have to abide by, right? We dwell, hey, the Most High is our Father, right? We have a Heavenly Father, right? He gave us specific rules. We didn't follow them. Therefore, He's going to punish us for our iniquity, right? Read on from that. Like He would a son.
He chasteneth and scourgeth every son whom He received. If ye endure chastening, God dwelleth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? But if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are ye bastards.
Right. So if you don't get chastised, then you're not really the Lord's children, right? Only the Lord's children are going to get punished, right? That's how we know who these people are, right? Who's the descendants of these so-called, of these Israelites, God's chosen people, because we were the ones who were chastised. We are the ones that suffer in these curses. We're the ones that have an evil eye towards our brothers, right? Who went on to slavery on slave ships, right? We're the only ones who went through these curses. Let's go back to it, right? Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68.
Verse 68. And it says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee.
Right. So the Lord said, hey, I'm going to bring you back into Egypt, right? Now this is the book of Deuteronomy. We just left Egypt. You know what we was doing in Egypt? Let me get Exodus 1 and 13. You know what we was doing in Egypt? Right, we're going to read it right now, right? Just to paint the picture in your head, right? Because you got to understand, we have to decode this Bible. This Bible was written, these are mysteries, similitudes, right? And only the saints, only God's chosen people are going to be able to decode this Bible, right? So we're going to go through the precepts.
It's the book of Exodus chapter 1 and verse 13. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage.
What is slavery?
Hard bondage.
Right. So in Egypt, we were in hard bondage, right? We were in slavery. This is where they had us, right? Look at these images up here, right? And to this day, for thousands of years, these other nations have had us in slavery. They've been trotting us down for thousands of years, right? Why? Because we did not listen to God, right? God told us exactly what to do, right? Let me get, actually we're gonna finish that off, right? And let me get Exodus 20:2, right? Because in the Bible, Egypt actually represents something. It's not always Egypt, and then somebody else give me Revelation 11:8, right?
So what? It's the book of Exodus chapter 20 and verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which I brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
What is Egypt?
Out of the house of bondage.
Right, so Egypt represents the house of bondage.
Right.
That's another meaning for that word Egypt, right? Let's get this other scripture real quick.
Revelations 11:8.
Get out.
And it says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
Right, where spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. It says spiritually, right? So there's a spiritual place on this planet called Sodom and Egypt, right? What is America known for, right? What is this month? What are they calling this month? Starts with a P.
This month?
Yeah. They call it, well, Pride Month, right? That's what sodomy is, right? That's dealing with homosexuality, right? What is America known for, right? You got transhumanism, right? You got homosexuals running around all over the place. And I'm led to believe there's gonna be a homosexual walking past any minute now, right? Because this is Chicago, man. You got 3 million people here, you're bound to have a homosexual walk past in the next few minutes, right? And it says spiritually Sodom and Egypt, right? Because why? This is the land of our captivity, right? We've been here since 1619, right? Since 1492, right? When Christopher Columbus and the so-called white man, and he brought us into captivity, right? They took you from the west side of Africa and dragged you over here on slave ships, right? We had the slave boats up here. Right, we don't got them up here, but you can look at it, it's in history, right? You know about slavery, right? So let's go back to Deuteronomy 28 and 68, right? Now that we understand what Egypt really means in the Bible, right? And even when you look at the back of your dollar bill, they got a pyramid on there just to show you still in slavery. This is the land of your captivity. And you got to go across the street to Walgreens to buy your baby formula for your child, right? With that dollar bill with that pyramid on the back, just so you can remember who has you in captivity.
Verse 68, and it says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
Right, so into slavery again, or bondage again, right?
With ships,
Right? So this is a curse, right? Back to the basics, we're going through the curses. Because we have to identify who these people are, right? It said that the Israelites would go into slavery again on ships, right? So who went to slavery on ships? Right? And we had Eve earlier, we call her Eve as like a slang, right? Talking about the beautiful princesses that were here, right? She said that it was Chinese people, right? That was suffering these curses. Did Chinese people go through that? Right? Hundreds of millions of Chinese people were just packed in the slave ships like sardines. And they brought them over here and just put them in a bondage. And then you see pictures like this. Where are the Chinese people at?
Right.
Yeah, where's Ling Ling, right? She's not here, right? You're not gonna see it. Right, and there it is, manifested right behind you, right? So these people had a hand in putting you into slavery, right?
Right.
Yeah, these people are our enemies, right? We're gonna get to that point. Read on.
And thou shalt see it no more again, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies. Unto your enemies. Unto your enemies.
Right. So all these people on this sign right here, right? Those are your enemies. The Bible teaches you who your friends are. The Bible teaches you who your enemies are. Right? We got to stop walking around and thinking everybody's our friend. Not everybody. A friend wouldn't do this to you. A friend would not hang you like this. A friend wouldn't feed you to alligators. A friend wouldn't burn you alive and have a picnic around you and a campfire. Right? These aren't what friends do. And after thousands of years of them doing this to us, they still do it to this day. Right? They still kill us. They still poison our foods. They still poison the air. right? They still poison our water. And what do? We say, you gotta forget about it, right? Just love everybody, right? John 3:16, right? It's crazy, because our people, we're so nice. We got a good heart. We'll do anything, like, we really got a good heart. That's how you know we're God's chosen people. Because we still forgive them. We still say, let it go, right? How are you gonna let it go when they haven't let it go, right? They're still doing it to us, right? So you have enemies according to the Bible.
You shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
Right. So it said for bondmen, for slave man and slave woman. And no man shall buy you, meaning that no man is going to redeem you from this captivity. Right? Nobody's going to be able to help you escape from here except the Most High God. Let's get Proverbs, let's get 20 and 22, I think. I think that's what I want. Right? So no one's going to be able to save us out of this captivity. You've seen it over and over again. We marched a lot. We rioted a lot. Right? We fought each other. We killed. Right? There was a lot of bloodshed that's been happening over the past hundreds of thousands of years. Right? But why are we still here? Right? Why haven't we been able to escape? Read on.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 20 and verse 22.
Bring it out.
Say not thou, I will recompense evil.
Right? So don't say, hey, I'm gonna get my get back, right? I'm gonna get myself out of here, right? Because who are you? You're just men, right? We've been trying to do that, right? Read on.
But wait on the Lord.
Wait on who?
Wait on the Lord, and he shall save thee.
I'll save myself.
He shall save thee.
Right? So the Lord is gonna save us, but you have to wait on the Lord. But only the men, women, and children who serve the Most High God are going to be able to make it in that day.
Right.
So you got to pray that you're worthy, man. You got to start coming back to your heritage, knowing who you are, knowing who your people are, right? And knowing who your enemies are right behind you, right? It manifests it. You got the so-called white man and woman, right? They're the descendants of the same people who murdered your great-grandfathers, your foremothers, right? They raped them, they robbed them, right? They told them there was something that they was not. They called you a color out of a crayon box. But we're literally God's chosen people. You got to be happy about that. You got to be fired up.
Right.
So, according to the Bible, what is your nationality, brother? A Hebrew what? Hebrew Israelite. Right? Kwam Yashala. Right? Kwam Yashala means rise Israel, right? So we trying to wake up our people, right? Let's get Romans chapter 13 and verse 11.
Romans
Right?
chapter 13 and verse number 11.
Bring it out.
And that, knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. And now it is high time to awake out of sleep.
Right, so it's high time to wake out of sleep. We're trying to wake up our people, man. Because we spiritually asleep right now. We're snoozing. And we keep hitting the snooze button, right? Yeah, so we gotta wake up. But how do you wake up? You wake up by finding out your heritage, returning to the Lord thy God, who's only the God of Israel. Let's get Joel 2 and 27 real quick, right?
It's the book of Baruch, chapter 2 and verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people.
Right, our people are stiff-necked. We know that they're not gonna hear us, right? Sister, you wanna hear the words of the Lord? And she don't got time.
So you got 2 minutes.
Right?
We got time, Alexa.
Oh, he got 2 minutes. Okay. All right, see that? So we were just telling the brother, we gotta come back to our heritage, right? So everybody has a biblical nationality. Do you know your biblical nationality?
I would say more, but I don't know.
A Moor? So a Moor just means a so-called black or brown man. A Moabite? Oh yeah, hey, OB. OB, that's my father. You can help him park? Just hop in the car. All right. Right? Yeah, see that? All praise to the Most High, right? So you said a Moor, that's a so-called black or brown man, right? So even if you were a Moor, what is the heritage of Moors, right? What? No. Moabites are so-called Chinese people, right? In the Bible, right? So they have a biblical nationality as well. But what about so-called Moors, right? Because I asked this brother, you said African American. We asked another sister, she said black. And you got all these different names, right? Right? But he knows who he is now, right? He found out. Exactly. The brother knows who he is right now, right? Because he learned, right? So according to the Bible, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are God's chosen people, the Israelites. We descend from a people that come from the nation called Israel, right? And you have people on this planet today that are imposters. They stole your nationality, they call themselves who you are, and they gave you a Bible. They gave you a proverb. They called you black, they called you Moor, they gave you everything else but other than who you are, right? But that's due to thousands of years of slavery, right? So let's bring it out. Let's get Deuteronomy 28 and start at verse 15. Back to the basics.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse number 15.
No!
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come.
Right. So God said, hey, if you don't listen, if you don't keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, there's going to be curses upon these people, right? Upon the Israelites. This is how we identify who the Israelites are. Because whoever these people are, whoever God's chosen people are, they didn't listen to God. Therefore, they were going to suffer certain terrible things, right, for thousands of years until they listen to God, right? So we're going to read some of these curses. And just so you know, a curse is a very bad thing. You have blessings, you have curses. Read on.
Shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Verse 16, cursed shalt thou be in the city.
Right. It said, cursed shall thou be in the city. Right? So whoever these Israelites are, they will be cursed in every city around the world. Right? That means that we will be going through terrible things when you go to Chicago, when you go to Houston, New York, every city around America, you have these specific people, they're in poverty.
Right.
They're on drugs. They're killing each other. Right? They're very poor people. Who does that fit? Does that fit everybody, or does that fit a specific minority of people? Right? Hey, it's not rocket science, right? The Lord didn't make it hard because his children would be able to identify who we really are, right? And all we got to do is read, but our people don't like to read. So read on. This is the first curse, right? So we will be cursed in the city, right?
And cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Right? Who was cursed in the field? Who had whips on their back? Who was picking cotton? You said
It's not black man, the Israelites, right?
Come, right? The Israelites, that's who they really are, right? Is it the so-called white man? Right?
Can it be?
I don't know.
Can it be? They were slaves too before the blacks.
Where is that? Where was hundreds of millions of so-called white people that was thrown in a slave boat, raped, robbed, and murdered for thousands of years?
They got sent east, didn't they? Like, you know, like the Slavs were like the slaves, you know?
Brother, you're not gonna find it. And you could try to look it up right now, and the most you're gonna find is the Holocaust. 7 million compared to hundreds of millions, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans for thousands of years, right? Non-stop until this day, right? They got so-called Latinos in cages right now in Georgia, right? And they got them working as slaves, right? We still gotta wake up and go to work. We're not the people who own these buildings, right? We don't own this place, right? We still in the land of our captivities. So that's the first curse, right? Jump. Yeah, go to verse 48.
48, therefore thou shalt serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst.
Right. So it said that we're going to serve our enemies, right? Or these Israelites are going to serve their enemies in hunger and in thirst, right? So every time you're hungry, what do you got right there, brother?
Falafel.
A falafel?
I've never had it before.
Okay, I don't even know what that is, but Arab food? See that? You're eating Arabic food, right? So every time you're hungry, you're going to have to go to your enemies, right? Now, yeah, you might have some black-owned businesses, and you might have some Mexican restaurants you might pop up to, get some tacos, right? But nonetheless, who are they paying taxes to, right? How did they have to get that property, right? they have to go through somebody, right? We don't just have our own land and our own inheritance. We're doing all this within the bounds of America, right? Within the bounds of Ireland, right? Russia, right? China, right? And we have to pay them, right? So every time we're hungry and every time we're thirsty, we have to go to our enemies, right? So you want Ice Mountain, right? Fiji, right? We don't own these companies. We don't.
And in nakedness.
Right? And in nakedness. The shoes that you got, the shoes that I got, right? All the clothes that everyone's wearing up here, we had to get it from somebody. We didn't get it from our friends. We got it from the same descendants that did these things to us, right? The same images that you're looking at up here, right? That's where we got these clothes from. That's how we feed each other every day, right? So we don't.
And in want of all things.
In want of all things. Like the brother always says, bed sheets. You even want to stay warm, you got to go to your enemies. Right. A pillowcase, right? You want to be comfortable, you want to stay warm, you still got to go to your enemies, right? We can't even comfort each other because we don't got it like that. Remember, we're cursed in the cities. We're the ones who are poor, we're in poverty, right? So in want of all things, you want to leave the country, you got to ask for permission. You got to get a passport, right? You're not really a free man here. Right? But these other nations, at least they get to go to their own people to do it, right? At least this is a kingdom that was built for them to thrive, and they get to ask their own people if they get to go somewhere, right? We specifically have to go to our enemies, right? Read on.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
Right, it said a yoke of iron until he have destroyed you. Now the brother just took the picture away, and a yoke of iron are chains, right? He said there's going to be chains, right? There's going to be chains on our neck until he have destroyed you. Until you don't know who you are. You don't know your nationality. You don't know you're an Israelite. You have no idea that you were kings and princesses on this earth, that you had rulership, you had gold, right? You had riches, you had inheritance, you had your own language, you had your own land, right? Until he had destroyed thee, right? You're gonna have this yoke of iron upon your neck, because we don't have yokes of iron anymore, right? You're walking up and down Michigan Ave with falafel, right? Arabic food, which is those are the Ishmaelites according to the Bible, right? And we're walking so-called as free men, so-called, right? But are we really free? No, right? Why? Because we're mentally in captivity to this day. Because we don't know who we are. Once we know who we are, we can return to our God and actually rise up above these other nations. Right? Let me get Deuteronomy 28:1 real quick.
Verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments which I command thee.
Right. So on the other hand, if we listen to God, if we keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, we keep the covenant that he made with us. On the other hand, right, on the bright side, in other words,
that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Right. On the other hand, on the bright side, right, if we keep these commandments, all those people on that sign, observe that sign, right? Those are blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. If we keep God's commandments, God is going to be on our side, and we're actually going to rise up above all these other nations. We're going to have rulership. We're going to get our inheritance back, right? That's the only way we're going to be able to escape out of this captivity. Right. Not by rioting, not by killing each other, not by getting mad at Esau, the so-called white man. You just start uppercutting him every time you see him, right? No, it's by keeping God's laws, statutes, and commandments, because this is for our own good. All right, let's get Deuteronomy 10 and 12.
Deuteronomy chapter 10. Chapter 10 and verse number 12.
Get out.
And it says, and now Israel, what doeth the Lord thy God require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
Right. So it just said that what's required of us, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the only thing that's required of us is to keep these commandments, right? So how do we get rulership, right? How do we get out of the predicament that we're in? How do we get out from the bottom of society, right? We literally got, spiritually, we got a foot on our neck and they pinned us down, right? How do we get out of here? right? It's by keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, right? So in order to know how to get out, what do you have to know? The laws and commandments, right? So let's get Deuteronomy 14 and 8. And let me get Leviticus 19 and verse 17.
Deuteronomy chapter 14 and verse 8.
Get out!
And the swan, because it divideth the hoof, yet cheweth not the cud, it is unclean unto you.
Right. So it just said the swan, because it divided the hoof, yet cheweth not the cud, meaning it doesn't properly digest its food, right? It said it's unclean unto you. You know what swine is? Right, it's a pig, right? So you aware of that too, right? And I'm sure y'all have heard, right? Because that's Arabic food, right? The Arabics, they're Muslim, right? They believe in the Quran. All of the laws that they keep, they stole it from the Bible.
Right.
The word Quran just means to recite. So they're literally reciting the Bible. Literally. All the words, look at it. Open this up, right? All the words that are in this book right here, they're reciting these words, right? They're literally just copying us. They pray towards the east just like us, right? They don't eat pork just like us. There's a few things that are, but even the unholy Quran says that the children of Israel are God's chosen people.
Right.
So even their book, you know, kind of goes with us, right? But you don't want to be reading that book. You want to refer to the original book, right? So according to God, you cannot eat the swine or the pork. So would you be willing to do that if the Lord told you you cannot eat pork because we're a holy people, we're separate, we're different than all these other people, and we got to do what we got to do to get out the bottom? Would you be able to do that? It's easy, right? You could do that, right? Right. And don't you want to be healthy? You want to be healthy, right? You want to be healthy, right? He said, see that? So look, God is teaching you how to be healthy, right? That's why our people have heart disease, right? We got liver disease, right? You got high blood pressure, high cholesterol, right? You got diabetes. All these things happen to us specifically, but all these other nations, they could dig in the pork and they're eating it like it's Thanksgiving. They got the whole ham and nothing happens to them. But our people, we got hospital bills, right? We got bills to pay. And we're suffering the calamities because we don't keep God's commandments. We want to eat the pork so bad, right? So read on Deuteronomy 14 and 8.
Deuteronomy chapter 14 and verse number 8.
Bring it out.
It reads, and the swan, because it divideth the hoof, yet cheweth not the cud,
right? It doesn't properly digest its food, right? Read on.
it is unclean unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, nor touch their dead carcass. These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters.
Right. So God is teaching you how to eat like a king and like a princess, right? There's certain things that we can and can't eat. If you seen a rat just run across right now, if you dive on it, just kind of dive on it and then try to snatch it up and then put it in your pocket, try to save it for later so you can throw it in the fire, kind of throw it in the microwave for a minute and a half, and you take it out and bite it like it's a chicken leg. You're not gonna do that, right? You're gonna follow God's commandments. He told you not to eat certain things. He created these animals. He would know if it was clean or not. He would know what was good for you and what was bad for you, right? So it just said out of the waters, there's certain things that we can and cannot eat as well, right? Now, do you eat fish? Do you eat seafood? You don't eat seafood? What about you? You eat seafood? What kind of seafood do you eat? Uh-oh. Shrimp? You like shrimp? What about crabs? You ever tried catfish before? Okay. All right, we're gonna talk about that.
Reading on. These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters. All that have fins and scales shall ye eat.
All that have fins and scales shall ye eat. You know?
And whatsoever hath not fins and scales, ye may not eat. It is
Right? So, okay, go ahead and finish that one.
It is unclean unto you.
Right, it is unclean unto you. So God gave us a specific dietary law, right? Those aren't the only animals, but we're gonna keep it simple today. No pork, and if you do eat fish, it has to have fins and scales.
Right.
So you said you like shrimp, right? Does shrimp have fins and scales? No, right? What about a crab? Crab don't got fins and scales, right? So you know why those animals were created? the pig, the shrimp, the crab, the lobster, do you know why they were created? Bottom feeders. What do bottom feeders do? They clean the waters, right?
Right.
You see the oceans right now, they're polluted. If we go down a block at Lake Michigan, you're gonna see a bunch of brown water.
Right.
Green, brown, dirty, poop water.
Right.
Why? Because they keep taking out all the clean fish and they're messing up the ecosystem in the water, right? The so-called white man, he's jamming it up in there, right? Because all he cares about is slapping it on a plate, making it a delicacy, and you go down to the shrimp shack or Red Lobster and you think you're fancy. Because you got the shrimp, you got the cocktail sauce, right? You got the butter, right? But really, you eating like a slave.
Right.
You eating like a servant instead of eating like a princess or a king, right? So these are simple things that keep our people healthy. This is the basics. Just like if you had a child, you wouldn't want them to just eat anything. You got a growing child, you want them to eat their fruits, have them eat their vegetables. God is the same way with us. He said, hey, I want you to be healthy. I want you to grow physically, spiritually, right? Because we're the greatest people on this earth, right? Let's get Leviticus.
It's the book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 26. Ye shall not eat anything with the blood, neither shall ye use enchantment.
Salaki, verse 17.
It's the book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
Right. So it said, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Let's get Deuteronomy 28 and 54. Right. So it said, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Right. Now you might have beef with somebody, right? You might have ops, right? That's what our people call them, right? Ops, right? You got beef with somebody. You might have gotten into an argument with an old friend, right? Hey, if they're a black, Hispanic, or Native American, if they're Israelites, according to the Bible, you cannot hate them in your heart. You gotta let it go, right? Now, yeah, you might not like them, but at the end of the day, they are your brother or your sister, right? Whoever they may be, even if they're not biologically related to you, you have to look at them differently. You have to say, well, whoa, these are God's chosen people. I may not like them, but let me just keep my distance. Right? It may not be wise to be near them all the time, but let me keep my distance. I'm not going to hate them. I'm not going to waste my time hating on somebody who's God's chosen people, right? Let's bring this up. This is one of the curses, right? This is because we didn't listen to God.
This Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate.
Right. We used to be tender and delicate amongst each other, right? Read on.
His eyes shall be evil toward his brother. His eyes shall be evil toward his brother.
Right, so it said his eyes shall be evil toward his brother. Because we didn't keep the commandments. One of the commandments is thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Right? We didn't keep that, so what happens now? Right? We have an evil eye towards our brother, towards our sisters. Right? She just got her hair done, and now you envying her, right? Or you just got your hair done and somebody else talking smack about you. You just got a brand new fit and now your brother's talking smack, right? It could be anything. We kind of bump shoulders, right? We look at each other kind of crooked, and before you know it, it's a damn shootout, right? You didn't want to kill each other over nothing. Over blocks that we don't own, right? Over clothes that we had to get from our enemies, right? Why don't we look at each other as God's chosen people, right? So this is a commandment. We didn't keep this commandment, therefore we have an evil eye towards each other, right? We kill each other.
Let me get 1 John 3.
Thou shalt any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. Thou shalt not avenge, nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people.
Right. So you can't suffer sin upon your neighbor, upon these people. Now sin is anything that goes against these laws. So if I see you in sin, if I catch you eating the pork, I gotta kind of uppercut the pork out of your hand. I gotta say something. Because if I don't say anything, then do I really love you? Right? If somebody cares about you, they're gonna say something, right? If they care about your health. And y'all gotta go, right?
Sorry.
Oh, that's alright, I was just
Pay
cooking.
for parking. I ain't going on.
Y'all got a flyer? You got a flyer, right? Look into that information. We do teachers on YouTube, alright? Y'all got a flyer? No? Alright, the brother got you. So look into that information. Y'all Israelites.
You're supposed to be the one leading, brother. Bro.
Hey, brother. Brother, come back. Right?